Hey guys, welcome to another video in You Can Draw This series. These are beginner-friendly, simple tutorials where I show you practical steps how to make the entire drawing. So today we are focusing on pumpkin spice latte recipe. We're gonna draw this cute recipe with the ingredients and text. I will show you everything step by step so that you can recreate this specific artwork by yourself. The list of brushes and the color palette are all in the description. And before we begin, please give this video a like and subscribe to support my small channel. Let's get started. Let's create a new canvas, which will be 3000 by 3000 pixels. All the brushes and color palettes will be linked in the description. I'm gonna use my favorite sketching brush for my rough sketches. We're gonna have a recipe where our pumpkin spice latte will be in the middle and ingredients will be around it. So let's start with pumpkin spice latte. We're gonna draw a takeaway cup. So first, let's start with a simple shape of a takeaway cup, a rectangle which is wider towards the top, a small oval here, then we have this part inside, and whipped cream. For now, let's draw a simple shape like this one. Let's also draw a cinnamon stick here. A small pumpkin will be inside, maybe even inside the circle. I'm gonna make it a bit wider using a selection tool and freeform. With freeform you can make things wider or taller. So for me, I want to make it a little bit wider. Okay, this is our rough sketch. Let's refine it by creating a new layer on top and reducing the opacity by clicking the N to around 30% so that it's slightly visible. And I'm gonna refine my sketch. So I will just outline everything and make the lines more defined and clean. Let's also add a little bit of volume to this part, so it will be visible. It will be a little bit wider than our cup, and we will be able to see it like this, so we can erase our cup. Now we can make this circle. I will create a new layer just to move things around more easily. And I'm gonna draw an oval by holding my pencil like this, and then I can press here and even change the shape. So it will be a perfect circle if you want, or ellipse. And another layer, I'm gonna draw my small pumpkin. So it will be a really simple one, like this. Just draw 3 ovals and a little stem. To cancel your action, just tap 2 fingers on the canvas, and to redo, tap 3 fingers. I want to make my pumpkin a bit bigger using a selection tool and uniform so that it doesn't distort my image. On a new layer, I'm going to work on the cream, whipped cream. So we can create a few shapes like this. One, the next one will be a bit smaller. And the last one will just be like this. Now we can play around with a liquify tool. Go to this magic wand, liquify, and you can change the shape a little bit. I think I want it to be lower. Let's draw just a few lines inside, like this, and a cinnamon stick on a new layer. I want to make it a bit less white, so I can use freeform tool. If you use this yellow rotation setting, then you can do this and easily change the shape. So I want mine to be something like this, maybe a bit bigger. Okay, another thing that we can do, if you go to this wrench icon, canvas, flip horizontal, you will see that probably your drawing is a bit distorted. Mine is always going to the left side, I don't know why, so we can select all of them and again use our liquify tool to fix our drawing. My pumpkin is completely tilted to the other side, so I can fix it separately. Now we can turn off or even delete our previous layer. I will make a few final adjustments to my sketch and then we can move on to the next one. On a new layer, I'm just gonna add a few small dots here and there, because I like to add this kind of dots. Okay, our pumpkin spice latte is ready. Let's group all the layers related to our pumpkin spice. You can group and rename your group. Let's create a new layer, 2 layers, and immediately group them. We're gonna draw our next ingredient, which will be milk. Maybe we can even hide this group for a while, just not to disturb us while we're drawing the milk. So we are going to draw a milk jar. I want to start with this shape first. We have a small rectangle and an oval, and then we will have a wider part here. Probably I will have to change it a little bit because this shape is too wide. Okay, now with the selection tool and freeform I can make it more like a jar. And here we will have a small cork lid. I think that's what it's called. And because this part is transparent, we will be able to see it inside our jar. And inside we have some milk, so we can draw an oval because we can see it a little bit from here. This might be a little bit confusing, but we will clean it up. And we can write milk here. Okay. If you want, you can already start fixing your shape. I think mine looks fine. And on a new layer, again, we're gonna refine our sketch. Okay, our milk is ready. We can delete the rough sketch and place it somewhere here. It will be smaller than our pumpkin spice latte, so we can decrease the size. For now, let's place it here. Later we will move things around. Let's hide our groups again, create a new group. To make pumpkin spice latte, we need pumpkin puree. Let's draw a simple pumpkin. Start with an oval shape, like this. And inside, we will have a few ovals, one more and another one there. Let's make our pumpkin cuter. Use the liquify tool. Maybe we can make the top like this, and it will get more like, it will get bigger, closer to the bottom. I don't know, just to vary the shape, make it more fun. Okay, maybe something like this. And then we'll make it a bit bigger, just so it's more comfortable to draw. As usual, I'm gonna refine my sketch on a new layer. Okay, here's our pumpkin. We can place it to the side as well. Let's move on to our next ingredient, honey, or it can be any sweetener. So I'm gonna show you how to draw a jar of honey, but feel free to draw a maple syrup or sugar if you don't like the idea of adding honey. So here we'll have a rectangle like this. Inside we have honey, so we can draw an oval. Don't worry about being precise, you can always fix it later. Then we will have something to help close our honey here. Again, it's super rough. Maybe we can erase this part for now. I want it to be a bit lower, like this. Okay, here's our jar. I want to make the edges, the corners, a little bit more rounded, so I'm gonna change them. And we can start refining our sketch. Okay, here's our honey. We can put it somewhere here for now. And let's go to the next. Let's draw our next ingredient, pumpkin spice mix. So we need to draw a small spice jar. Start with a rectangle, then we can draw a lid on top, another rectangle like this. Then we have a small ellipse here on top, and we also see a small part of our lid here. Inside we have our spices, so they will fill the whole container. We will draw them later, and we can make a label for our pumpkin pie spice, or in a circle. This is our rough sketch, and let's move on to our clean sketch. This part should be much smaller and lower, so I can use freeform tool to make it lower, like this. This jar seems way too wide, so I think I'm gonna decrease the size like this. Maybe make the label a little bit smaller too. Inside we can draw a few dots indicating that we have some spices there. We have 2 more ingredients. One of them is espresso. First of all, let's draw a small cup. The shape will be something like this. And then we need to add a saucer, so it will be an ellipse like this. And then you can erase the part that we don't see. This part will be dark. We can add steam and maybe 2 or 3 coffee beans, just to make the composition a little bit more interesting. This looks nice, and then we can merge everything and refine our sketch. It's way too wide, maybe something like this. And I totally forgot the handle, but actually we don't need it. I think it looks okay this way. So we can place our coffee to the side, and we have only one last element remaining. It's vanilla extract. Start with a rectangle, then we will add a part like this around all the angles. Add a label here. We will write vanilla. A small thread, just to make it look more interesting. Something like this. And let's refine our sketch. Okay, our vanilla extract is done. Let's bring back all our sketches now, and we can change the size and arrange them in a way that we like, in a way that makes more sense. The center of our composition is our pumpkin spice latte, so it should be the biggest and the most central element. So naturally we will have to make all the other elements smaller, especially these 3, because they're huge for now. I'm gonna move around and resize the elements for now. Feel free to arrange them in any way that you like, or you can just follow me and do the same. The next step will be to add a little bit of text, so we can add how much and what ingredients we need to specify our recipe. So I will start by pumpkin puree. Here I will write, for now you can just write tablespoon pumpkin puree. Okay, we've added our text. And now the last detail is to add a few elements, like a few autumn leaves here and there, a few dots, maybe like cinnamon sticks or something like that, something related to our recipe to make it more interesting and to tie the composition together. So I'm gonna group all of my elements first, all of my main elements, and maybe decrease the size a little bit, just to have more space around the borders where I can add a few leaves. And the last fun detail that you can add is add a little arrows. It just makes it look more fun, but if you don't like it, you can skip this step. One more thing that you can add, which is also optional, is to add the title to our whole drawing. Probably you will have to move a lot of things down to leave some space. Let's try to add. I want to see how it will look. Okay, I think I like how the text looks. Later I will refine it and probably add a better font than my handwriting. We can move on to coloring everything. I'm gonna duplicate my canvas, so just swipe it like this, duplicate, just to keep my sketches separately, because now I'm gonna merge everything. So it will be just one layer and I'll have less freedom in case I wanna change my sketches. If you still want to move things around, you can use the selection tool, S, freehand, and you can move things like this. Make sure there is enough space between your items because the composition will look much better. Okay, I guess now I'm really truly done with the sketch. Now let's put our layer to multiply mode. Just click on the N, choose multiply, decrease the opacity, and go to the magic wand, curves, red, change your color to red. Then we will create a new layer, put it under our sketch. Our sketch layer will always be on top, so you can keep it there. And let's start coloring our first element. I will already create a group for our pumpkin spice. Now we can start coloring. Your color palette will be linked in the description. You can download it there as a Procreate color palette or a color palette on a picture where you can color pick the colors like this and then put them in your palette, however you wish. And we will need only 2 brushes for this tutorial. Monoline is a standard Procreate brush under Calligraphy section. What I changed here is the amount of streamline, which is 100%, to make your lines smoother and make this kind of nice shapes. And the second brush is Mimi marker pen for our shadows and lights. You can use a standard Procreate brush under painting section, round brush, like this. Okay. I pinned my brushes in the recent ones. You can do it by swiping on any brush and pinning them or unpinning. So I have 2 of these brushes pinned. So we're starting with our pumpkin spice latte, and I'm getting this first orange color from my palette and monoline brush, and I'm just gonna outline my cup. Then I'm color dropping to the maximum, and let's fix some imperfections, if any. So you can just hide your sketch and go over the lines to fix things. Next, let's create a new layer with a clipping mask and get our light yellowish color, and we are gonna draw this thing here. Clean it up if necessary. Now let's add this little pumpkin on a new layer with a clipping mask again and this bright orange color. I forgot to add the green to my palette. It will be here. In your palette you will find it. So under our pumpkin, let's draw this green stem. Maybe I'm not gonna draw this circle. I think it will be okay without it. And on a new layer without a clipping mask, we are gonna draw our cream with this pinkish whitish color. Now let's create a new layer and place it under your cup. We will draw our cinnamon stick with this brown color here. And don't forget to close the shape, because for example we outlined our cinnamon, but if we do this, all the canvas will get filled. So how do we avoid it? We need to do this, so our shape is closed. And now we can easily fill our layer with. And now let's get this second color, this orange color, a layer as a clipping mask to our cup. And let's draw this line here, this edge. Sometimes I turn on our sketch on and off to see how everything looks, because in the end we are gonna delete our sketch. We will not have it like this. And I can also fix some things. Don't forget to fix things on your base layer, because everything that you clipped is clipped to your base layer. So if it doesn't exist on your base layer, you can't draw it on your clipping mask. And then you can come back to your clipping mask and fill everything. Now let's move on to our shadows. I'm gonna decrease the opacity of my sketch layer, just not to get in the way. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new layer on top of everything except for our whipped cream, and set it to a multiply mode. Then decrease the opacity to around 40%. We will play around with that. And let's get our bright orange color for these shadows. And we can add our shadows. I'm going to be using Mimi marker pen, but remember, you can always use the round brush. So for our shadows, we are going to create some flowing shapes like this. You can even hold your brush and your shape will be super smooth. So this is our shadow. Now we can play around with the opacity, so you can see this is too strong, and we can change it to anything that suits us. So that's why multiply mode is really nice, because we are applying our shadow to all the elements at once. Next, create another layer in an add mode. Decrease the opacity a lot to maybe 14%. Clipping mask. Let's get our yellowish color, like this one here. We're gonna add a rectangular shape for our light. So draw a rectangle like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can make it a bit smaller, like this, and decrease the opacity even further. The add mode is a really strong mode, so you only need a few percent to make it look nice. Maybe I will tilt it a little bit. Can even make it a bit less wide, a bit more narrow and smaller, not to overlap with our shadow, like this. I think they are too close to each other. The light and shadow doesn't look so great. I want to come back to my shadow layer, and with the same brush that I'm using for my shadows, I am gonna remove some of it. I'm gonna do something like this and hold so that the shape is perfect, and let it go. Now it looks better. Okay, let's move on to our cream. Here I'm gonna get the same color as our cream, go to a new layer, clip it to our cream, multiply mode, decrease the opacity. Let's see, yeah, maybe around 56%. Let's add a few shadows here, so they can start thin from here and widen here. Let's turn off the sketch layer to fix things. Here are our shadows. I think our light layer is a bit too strong, so I'm gonna decrease it even more to maybe 5%. Next, our cinnamon. Let's take the color of our cinnamon, create a clipping mask layer, multiply mode, decrease the opacity, and let's add a shadow on one side of our cinnamon stick, like this, and decrease the opacity. Create a new layer, clipping mask, add around 9%, and with the same color let's add this kind of light here. Okay, we are done with our basic shadows, and let's add a few details. Let's start with our cup. So we will need to add a few more shadows underneath our paper holder, paper stuff. Let's create a new layer under our paper and multiply mode, decrease the opacity, the same brush and the color of our cup. And we can add a line like this. Make it thicker towards our shadow side, towards the right side. Now let's go to the layer of our paper stuff, paper cup. Let's go to this layer now and create a multiply mode, multiply layer, decrease the opacity, and press on our cup, on our paper layer, and select it. This way, come back to your multiply layer. This way you're not gonna draw anywhere except for your paper, except for this layer. So it's really handy when you need to add shadows, but not to everything. So I want to add, if I do this without selecting it, I will also draw on my cup. I don't want that, that's why I select it and then I draw here. Okay, we can even increase the opacity like this, because we will have this shadow here, you know, we can't see, but not here, like this. I want to increase the opacity of this layer a little bit, and I'm gonna come back on this layer with our details, and I want to add a really thin line. Oops, not with this color, with the color of my cup. I want to add a thin line here. But can you see how it turned out? I don't want my line to be here. So actually I can put it under this layer, like this. And it's solved. Okay, I'm gonna fix some things a little bit here. Maybe less, maybe it should be a little bit thinner. Okay, we're done with the cup. Let's move on to the pumpkin. I want to add a few details to the pumpkin. First, to the stem. I will take the layer of the stem and go to the right and darker, and alpha lock it by swiping 2 fingers to the right. Add a little bit, a small shadow here. And the pumpkin now, we can create a new layer, multiply mode. Select our pumpkin to only draw on the pumpkin color, and we're gonna add just a few lines here. Let's go to our cream layer. Let's create a clipping mask to our cream layer, add mode, color of our cream, and I'm gonna add a few light blobs here. And our cinnamon stick, create a new layer, multiply mode, color of our cinnamon, and we can add a line here. If you are running out of layers, you can merge them, but don't merge your different blending mode layers. For example, multiply and add, you will mess up everything. So you can either clip all the clipping layers, it will work fine, or you can merge the layers with the same mode. For example, 2 layers with multiply mode will work well. But again, a layer with an add and multiply mode will not work well. So, but if you want, you can easily do this and merge everything. But I don't want to do that. I have enough layers, and if I want to change something, I can easily come back and change the opacity of every single layer. That's just how I like to do it, but feel free to merge the layers if you want to. The last little detail that we're gonna add are a few dots here. First of all, we're gonna add a background color. You can press on our background color. I just added this color because it wasn't here, and choose this color here. Okay, and now we can add a few dots with our light almost white color. So we can add just a few small dots like this to add a little bit of magic to our drawing. Don't add too many, just a few will do. Okay, here's our pumpkin spice latte. And let's proceed to our next ingredients. We will always create 2 layers, group them, and rename them appropriately, and move on to each drawing. For our pumpkin, we're gonna use this bright orange color, and as always, I'm just gonna outline it first. Okay, here's our pumpkin, and we're gonna do the same thing. Create a clipping mask layer with the multiply mode. Take our orange color. First I will add a big shadow like this. Then I will add another multiply layer and add a few shadows here. Next, create a new layer with an add mode. First I'm gonna create a few bigger surfaces like this. So I'm just gonna create a few more light places, but not with blobs, just with a few shapes like this. Now our pumpkin is ready. We have these two elements. Let's move on to our milk. I'm not gonna give you all the instructions from now on. You can just follow me and I will come back to you when it's time to add the text. Now that we've finished all our main elements, let's add our leaves in the same way as we've drawn all the other elements, and then we will proceed to our text. Now our leaves are ready and we are gonna start adding the text. So we will need to go to our wrench icon, add text. Let's first write our text. Make sure your text is all caps. And let's go through some fonts. You can download different fonts or use the standard ones, but make sure that you are not violating any copyright. Maybe I'm gonna go for this one, let's check. I just wanna change the spacing of the lines, and also I wanna make it white, like this. I think this font suits our style, so we can keep it, but maybe it would look better all in one line. If you want to make sure that everything is centered, turn on snapping and you will see this yellow line. That means it's right in the middle. But now we will have to move our milk and one of the leaves. So we will have to select this part here, turn off the snapping and move it a little bit, and here we are. Now let's add the rest of the text. So let's do the same, add text, and here we have one. Let's select our text to change it. I think it should be smaller, and I think we can choose another font for this kind of text. Something that seems like it's been handwritten. Let's see. You can go through all the fonts that you have and see something that suits you. Maybe not noteworthy. I think it's one of the standard fonts, so we can use that. Let's see. Let's see if there are any options. Bold and light. And we're gonna use the same size for everything, so let's measure if things will fit. I guess it will be too big if we want to write vanilla extract, so maybe a bit smaller than that. I will hide our leaves and dots for now, because later we will probably have to move them around a little bit. And I'm gonna copy it and put it in all the places where we will need our text. So let's move to this one, 1 tablespoon honey. So we can just press here and change. Okay, let's bring back all our elements and leaves. Maybe we can erase some of them that are overlapping or too close. Okay, it was just one. Let's bring it, let's put another one here. Okay, and the last thing that we have to do is to add our arrows. So let's create a new layer. With Monoline brush we can add these arrows. Here we are. I will just change the position of some of the arrows. Now you can just look at your drawing, see if anything is missing. And I would like to make one final thing, is to add a layer underneath everything. And I'm gonna add some texture. So for these I have some cool brushes by Lisa Glantz, but you can go to standard brushes and choose any texture that you like, maybe from artistic or anything here. You can browse, but for me, I really like this brush pack by Lisa Glantz, and she has amazing textures. So I'm just gonna create a layer with an add mode and reduced opacity, probably with this yellowish color. I'm gonna add texture all over my canvas like this. Then I can play around. You can see that it's too strong with the maximum, so something around 18% or even less. I just want a subtle texture, and we are done. Here's our pumpkin spice latte recipe. You can, by the way, you can totally try to make it. This is a real recipe that I use for my pumpkin spice latte. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share your results on Instagram and tag me. And if you liked this tutorial, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, you can leave a comment with any suggestions for future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!